Hey, it's Phoenix here. Uh, what you're hearing right now is going to be the first installment of the new podcast series that I added onto the channel. Um, and for now, I believe I'm just gonna be comics. It's gonna be called Phoenix's Comics Corner. Just like the banner. Not sure if I'm changing the channel name or not. It's just going to be everything from new to old, news, what I like, opinions, all sorts of stuff, go through the whole gambit of things. And, yeah, I've thought a lot about this. I'm not sure if it's going to be a weekly thing. It might be 30 minutes. Who knows how short. It's just going to be me, mostly solo. The first video I have up is just a one-off, just to have on the channel. But going forward, it's mostly solo, as of right now. So, today's topic for episode 1 of this podcast is collected editions, which is a big topic I've always thought about, and it's sort of how I got back into comics, weirdly, so I'll probably get into that. What I mean by collected editions, of course, I'm referring to omnibuses, omnibuy, deluxe editions, hardcovers, square bound, absolute, prestige, or prestige plus, and soft covers. I'll probably get same deal with manga as well if I ever get into that. For the most part, it's just soft cover, and then it's hardcover. Then there's like the big deluxe editions, depending on the company. And I wanted to talk about collected editions mostly because it all sort of started. I don't know, about 2 years ago. For my birthday, I believe I got the first two. I guess collected true, because I've had trade paperbacks in the past. I'm just looking at the list right now. I'm trying to remember, Dark Knight Returns, Nightfall, they have a trade. They go by like thirds. I don't even. It's different from the omnibus version, but what else? All sorts of stuff like Deadpool Illustrated, Hellblazer Volume 1, Red Hulk Volume 1, or the Hulk series by Loeb and McGinnis, and stuff like that. I've had trades, always, and I had some single issues. Not a lot back then, especially as a kid. I think I started with Marvel mostly, but that's only because of my parents got me that, and I just started from there, and I never had any thought between the big two, DC and Marvel, but from there, I believe 2020, 2021-ish, yeah, no, 2020, yeah, during my birthday, I decided for the first time, because I got really deep into just the omnibus, culture, community, I should say, or collected editions mostly, because first, I guess the most well-known collected edition probably is trade paperback, but I guess within like the community of YouTube and Reddit and stuff like that, the bigger collectors, it's omnibus, and I never really knew that much about it. I knew what omnibus was back then, but I didn't read a lot or want to know much back then. And now that I got into it, I love it a lot. And I decided, it took probably like a month or two in advance, knowing I might want it, what to get. And I decided with Sandman Volume 1, the Omnibus, and Green Lantern by Jeff Johns Volume 1, which are interesting picks. Two separate things, well, I guess both DC, one's Vertigo Border. And at the time, I knew about Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, and I wanted to get into Green Lantern, and I was thinking, well, this is the best chance, because I have some friends that love Green Lantern, and I like Green Lantern, and I know some of the stories, especially through, like channels like Comic Pop, Comic Story, and all the big, comic channels, and I was like, well, this is the perfect chance, and I did not know a lot about it until I watched so many YouTube videos like reviewing it, especially the big one that really got me into, of course, Omnibus and collected editions would probably be the Uncanny Omar, or oh man, there's so many other people. I can't think of them right now, but those channels who go over collected editions made me super fascinated. And from there, I got those two. And Sandman Volume 1 was because I knew Sandman. I had some of the trade paperbacks I read. If I can even remember what they're called. The first volume or two? Yeah, I must have. Let me check. Because I'm trying to remember the names of them. I know one was Dollhouse, that was the second volume. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Preludes and Nocturnes, and then the Dollhouse. I only read those two. And then, once I got the because I knew the omnibus had like black pages, and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And it had like a fake rubber exterior instead of a dust jacket. And I was like, well, that's even more special. So I got that. And I didn't really I got into reading Green Lantern first, because I knew it wouldn't be as hard of a read, or as thought-provoking. And, still to this day, I haven't finished the last couple pages, mostly because when you start collecting and then the journey goes insane, and then you start collecting everything, you start having you start just read everything. And, it's a pain sometimes. But, the Sandman one I did finish. Took a while, but it was pretty interesting. I have to reread it, because I read all of Sandman before the show came out. I did eventually get Volume 2, and I read all of it. I read Volume 1 through the Omnibus. I have Volume 2. I tried reading it there, but then at that time, that's when I got into the DC Universe app, and then I read the rest of the issues there. It was just quicker. I don't know how you feel, if you want to put in the comments, whatever, or how I don't know how, but if you, because some people would collect these books, especially the big ones, and sometimes I know there's a debate between an omnibus and a deluxe edition, and if you don't know what deluxe edition is, it's the same dimensions of an omnibus, but less issues. So, like, I don't know, if the Scott Snyder Batman run is like 52 issues, and it's split between like 20 something each, each, if it were deluxe editions, it would probably be 15 issues each, or 12. As tall, they're bigger, of course, than a hardcover and a softcover, because of the same dimensions of omnibus. And I will say this, I did buy all the volumes of Batman by Tom King, and that took a while, because it's only one of the deluxe edition lines where they really, they took all of them, and you were able to get them all. I was happy about that. I was able to finish that. And at the same time, I believe the James Tynion Detective Comics run, which came out around the same time, they had an omnibus of that. I read that run. That was amazing. And then I realized, like, the omnibus format is pretty amazing for just when you have a creator specifically. You could read their whole run, and it just feels good. You just read like a whole Batman run. You're like, whoa, I know what that felt like. I know what happens in there. It's same thing with the Batman by, oh my god, what's his name? Grant Morrison. He has 3 books, volumes 1, 2, and 3. And I've almost finished volume 1. And then I know volume 2 sort of gets into the RIP, and maybe volume 1 did. And then, what was it, Final Crisis stuff, because he also wrote that. And I have that omnibus. It's pretty cool, because I also am very picky now, especially because when it comes to collected editions, the omnibus at least, because just inflation, I assume it's, since, like, some of these books range from 100, 125, then 150, mostly. But now a lot of these are becoming 125, 150, when in reality the page count's a lot less, so it really shouldn't be. so you're actually spending more than you should based on page count. And I believe there's a YouTuber, I think OmniDog or something. He goes into that stuff, like page count, quality, the price per page, and if it's a good deal or not. I usually get my stuff off In Stock Trades or Amazon. They always have the best deals. Never buy the book in full. It's it's just a waste of money because there's so many websites where you can get it on sale. Until one day probably won't be as big of a sale, but it's better than nothing. From those, I guess, those first two Omnis, it's really hard to say. It's hard to even remember which books I even got afterwards. Because then I got into. Here's the thing. I'm a big DC guy, as you know, based on the channel. I'm assuming, because all I've been covering is those ultra latest editions or ultra latest releases. And because of that mentality, I stuck with DC Omnis mostly, and most of them are Batman related. Because I decided if I'm going to use the app to read too, I will buy stuff I know I want in physical editions, which are Batman stuff, and then any other type of character I'm willing to read via the app, and it's been working pretty well. And some Vertigo stuff, like I got the complete Sandman, I got the complete Lucifer, I got the first volume of Preacher, I got the Grant Morrison JLA, Justice League New 52, Justice League Dark New 52. The list is on and on. In total, I think I have 26 Omnis, and I just recently, for my last birthday, I think, or Hanukkah, one or the other, Christmas, who knows. I just got Venom, so my first Marvel omnibus. I was so hesitant just because I didn't know where to really start, which book. And I got Venom, the Venom Omnibus by Cates and Stegman. It does not say Venom Omnibus unless you go inside the pages, which is ridiculous. Haven't read it yet, just behind. There's just so much comics. And I'm still buying single issues, keeping up to date with that. Let's see. I'm happy it's my first. I knew it was going to be a Venom-related one because I do love Venom. And they have like a couple of Venom omnibuses beforehand from the 90s and stuff, from his miniseries and things like that. Yeah, but for the most part, the Omnis are my favorite collections, but if I had to choose another way, it would be deluxe editions, because those are second best. Or, like everyone knows, or if you don't know, the Absolute editions, which are the biggest in size. They barely fit in one of my shelves, my bookshelves. They're bigger than Omni, width and length. I don't remember the dimensions right now, but for instance, the books I do have in those editions are, let's see, Dark Knight Returns, which includes the Dark Knight Returns and Dark Knight Strikes Again. Let's see, Absolute Batman, the Dark Knight Master Race, which includes, that whole series, the third one, with all the other covers. It's like 150 variant covers. And then I have Absolute Batman: The Black Mirror by Scott Snyder and, oh my god, what's his name? He has like one name. Forget his name now. Okay, Jock, that's what it was. And then my latest one I got a couple months back was Absolute Dark Knight's Metal, because still to this day, when it comes to like events and things like that, the thing that really got me back into comics was the Metal series, the first Metal series by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo back in 2018. I collected all the books, most of the variants, probably not most, but some. I got the first book signed at Comic-Con, New York. I truly love that book, and that really got me back into just reading a heck ton. And then, when Death Metal came around, I collected all of that too. And then I found out that they were going to make an Absolute edition, so I grabbed that. And then a couple months after that, they made an omnibus, which I did not pick up, but I will. I just haven't had the time, or the money. Because I know it's like, at this point, like who knows how many dips I've got into buying the same book. And then I heard in June of this year, I think June, could be wrong, they're making a Death Metal Absolute, and then I think maybe January of next year they're going to have a Death Metal Omnibus. So when it comes to collections, especially of things that you love, like truly love story wise, especially events or anything like that, it's amazing to have them collected because then it's just a lot easier to bring back out and read instead of because my single issues are always covered up and safely put away and are hard to really just take out all the time. And I don't want to do that, so I guess the next one I would talk about, let's see here. I guess hardcovers. I have a couple. Some Doomsday Clock, Rorschach, Strange Adventures, Batman, Last Night on Earth, things like that. Those are just normal size, and I don't have a lot of those unless a book is only in that edition. Then I'll get it. Like for instance, the Batman Who Laughs hardcover. They're making a deluxe edition this year, even though this one came out 2019, which is ridiculous, but whatever. Let's see. And the other format of collecting, it's not really a collected edition, but it's another type of book, the prestige bound, like Batman Damned and Catwoman Lonely City and, what was it, Rogues? Yeah, by Scott Williamson. That's always cool. Let's see. When it comes to manga, because I will be talking about manga, maybe not as much, but I do have, let's see. You have your regular manga, your softbound tankobons, if I say that right, which are pretty, they're pretty good. They're small, so compared to a comic or, a trade paperback, there is a big difference. Until you get into, let's see, there's hardcover manga in general. And that ranges from different sizes, like the Berserk hardcovers by Dark Horse are huge, and Hellsing, same thing. But then you have Full Metal Alchemist hardcovers, which are they are bigger than a regular softbound, but they're not as big as Hellsing or Berserk. And then, let's see, that's mostly it for those. But I would say my journey so far has been, especially for the comic side of things, if it's something recent, I'm going to keep up, especially if it's creator based, mostly Tom King, Scott Snyder. Well, not even Scott Snyder as much. I like the DC stuff. It's hard to get into those stuff. Let's see. But yeah, Omnibus is such an interesting medium because some are creator based and some are just event based, or just like right in the series base, like starts from whatever issue and keeps going, like Batman, Silver Age, Golden Age, all those things, like super into. And the event stuff's cool too, because you can get the whole event if you want with all the tie-ins, like Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, and then Flashpoint. I have all in order. It's pretty amazing. And then you have like books that, if you can't get in print, like a trade, or if you want the big ones, you have to get like Batman No Man's Land or Road to No Man's Land, all that stuff, and it's insane. And I've collected. It's pretty fun because then on especially on a shelf, you could see like a whole run. Especially like Scott Snyder did, like I said, he did Metal, then he went into Justice League, and then he did Death Metal, and I have that all collected hardcover or any other collected version. And I can just read it on the shelf and it fits perfectly. What was I gonna say? Let's see here. I'm just looking at all the books on me just to see what I'm talking about. Some of my favorite deluxe editions are the Justice League run. I have Death Metal and Metal as well. The 30th anniversary of 35th, sorry, of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then I have both the 1000th edition or 1000th issue and 1027 issue of Detective Comics hardcovers, deluxe editions, and those are fun too. And Watchmen, and all sorts of stuff. I would say I'm gonna make probably a part 2 one day of just talking about or collected editions, because at the moment I just wanted to, for this first episode, I don't know, just explain what I got and sort of how it began. And Yeah, because I really enjoy this community, especially DC stuff and just collected editions. It's funny, you go in community wise comics, and then you get your collected edition community, which is more than, it can be more than just comics, of course, but it's comics adjacent, comics itself, manga, um, any book printing. I love all of the box sets, anything like that. It's just fun entertainment for me. It's like a fun hobby, and yeah, I hope you guys like. I hope anyone who does hear this have the same aspiration for this type of collection. 'Cause that's my main way of doing stuff, reading, and then of course you have the app stuff, which are both fun. I hope you love this first episode because I'm gonna keep going with it. It's something fun for me. So, nice chat to all the people out there, and have a good day. See you guys.